Let's get it Star Wars. Let's get it Star Wars in here. Let's get it Star Wars. Let's get it Star Wars in here.
A small rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio.
Your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary.
With Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
Star Wars #1.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, you guys make some noise. Here they come.
Hello, Bristol. And happy May the 4th. Thanks for having us out here. First time, more than 2 years, Rebel Force Radio doing a live show. And what a fantastic way to come back with a live audience with all of you. We've never been up here in the Northeast for a Rebel Force Radio event. And I'm just so impressed with everything here, the turnout, the folks here in Bristol. It's been awesome. So we got a great show for you. As you know, we're going to be playing later The Empire Strikes Back. So I do hope that you're all coming to that on the big screen. So we're going to be looking back and sharing memories about that. We also had Tales of the Empire. I almost said Jedi. Tales of the Empire. That premiered. Did you all catch it? Yeah, okay. All right. We'll give a little bit of first blush commentary on that, and then we'll save it for the live after show later this week. But we want to get right to it. So you know what I'm about to say. Standing next to me, as always, my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. We're so happy to see you guys here in Bristol, CT, for RFR on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Star Wars Day. And the people of Bristol were so nice to invite us to come out here to entertain you folk. And if some of you guys might be new to the podcast, we welcome you aboard. I'm seeing also some familiar faces out in the crowd, some RFR V.I.P.s, listeners who've been with the show for a long time. You know who you are. And plus we have just a lot of surprises, I hope, for you, and a real good time today on Star Wars Day here in Connecticut.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, all right, well, in case you missed them, we've got a band over here, and not just any band. We've got High Adventure. And of course, the front man and the big poobah there of High Adventure, Mr. Glenn Nelson, been a friend of Rebel Force Radio for a very long time, going back to the very early beginnings of the podcast. So, Glenn, why don't you come over and join us?
Oh, yes. Glad to see you, buddy.
That's a special moment.
Ladies and gentlemen. High Adventure. We're so happy to see you, and I was so relieved because I knew Glenn was somewhere from this region. And I called him and I said, do you live anywhere near Bristol? And he said, yeah, about 5-10 minutes away. And it was perfect. So we got a band. We got a house band here for the show. And these guys will be performing a couple of tracks. One of them is a High Adventure classic. They perform music that's largely inspired by Star Wars. Do you delve into any other franchises?
Absolutely. There's Star Trek is in there and some superhero stuff. But the last 5 albums are primarily Star Wars. And I really want to say, honestly, thank you on behalf of all of us for all the RFR support over the years. It's super awesome. And you guys are awesome. Thank you for supporting music, nerd rock.
I hope we get a chance to hear that Babylon 5 track, Glenn. Waiting for that. Maybe a little Doctor Who also.
No, it has to be all Star Wars today on May the 4th.
Well, it is the only franchise that I can think of that has a real day. We're going to be talking a little bit about the whole history of May the 4th coming up. And I think there's a Harry Potter birthday. They're trying to get traction on some of the, I think there's First Contact Day for the Trekkies and all that. But we're the only ones that have like an actual, almost federal holiday for our franchise that we love, I think.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I mean, no one's working today, right? We all have the day off. Well, we're working. But anyway, so Glenn, I don't think at least it's been a while since we've talked to you about the genesis of this band. And I'm sure that when you had the idea for it and you were recruiting band members, did they all kind of look at you like you were a little crazy?
Well, this was the first band I was ever in when I was 10 years old with my buddy Todd Howard. And Todd Howard, of course, we were playing Star Wars lightsabers with snow shovels one night, and he knocked my front tooth out. And covered in blood, he goes, "Don't tell your mom." And there's also the same guy that called me. He got to see Empire a week early, and I did not, because my mom didn't want to wait in 3-hour lines. Blockbuster lines, that's where that term came from.
You know how easy you kids have it? There's no waiting in line.
I had to wait a week to see Empire, so Todd saw it first, and he snuck a tape recorder into the movie and recorded the whole thing on cassette on
nice.
two cassettes.
He's still serving time.
And but he goes, this is the point of the story. So he's like, "Glenn, get down to the end of your mom's driveway now." And I remember sitting at the end of mom's driveway in the sand. He played me the Imperial March for the first time, taped on a cassette from the movie. And I was like, I got to see this movie.
Well, I think everyone has an Empire Strikes Back story, so we'll be bringing some of our friends up throughout the show to hear some of their memories and favorites and moments, Empire Strikes Back moments. I had a few.
Yeah, I know.
I've had many, trust me. Well, Glenn, how do people find your music?
We are on Facebook, and we are on Instagram and YouTube, and looks like we're also on X, or we have to update our sign. And we have 5 albums of original songs, mostly Star Wars, and they're on all your streaming platforms. So if you could like us on Spotify, that really seems to help bands with the Spotify thing. So if you want to just do some, you know what to do, that'd be great.
Right, man. Well, we're going to be hearing a lot more from Glenn and the band. But of course, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the fact that today is May the 4th. And May the 4th, like I say, I think it's clearly there's others that have been trying to do this, but no one does it as well as Star Wars, and I think we were the first to actually have a holiday. But do you all know the history of May the 4th? Huh? No. Well, we're going to find out. Jimmy Mack is about to give us a history lesson, so get out your notebooks as Jimmy Mack gives us a history of May the 4th.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I had to research long and hard. Took half an evening, but I did it. And I looked all over many different sources. I interviewed people, total strangers, some man on the street stuff. And I came up with all of this information about May the 4th. So the phrase actually began appearing as far back as 1977 when the original Star Wars was released. Some news commentators or newspaper headlines featured May the 4th be with you to celebrate the 4th of July, Independence Day. It didn't receive its actual May the 4th exact date usage until a moment here in May 4th, 1979. And that's photo number 2.
Oh, the Iron Lady, Maggie Thatcher.
So a full-page ad in the London Evening News appeared congratulating Margaret Thatcher as she became Britain's new prime minister on May the 4th, 1979.
See, that won her the re-election right there, just the fact that they ran that Star Wars ad.
The Force was with her.
Right.
And the headline read, "May the 4th be with you, Maggie, congratulations." And so that's really the first time we actually know of the phrase being used on the actual date of May the 4th. Now, I had to dig deep for this connection. The very first time it was used in pop culture, it came in 1988 in an episode of the British animated series Count Duckula.
Does anyone remember Count Duckula?
Count Duckula fans out there? Yeah. Smattering
We
of
exist. We exist.
Count Duckula. The name of the episode was called The Vampire Strikes Back. And this is the first mention of May the 4th be with you in pop culture history as far as I can tell.
Farewell, daring Duckula. I must away. Already I can feel the influence of the planet affecting me. Yes, this is goodbye. What's the date today?
The date, it's May the 4th. Why?
Then May the 4th be with you.
There it is. And a legend was born.
In the heart of Transylvania, in the vampire. That's the theme song to Darkwing Duck, or Darkwing Duck.
I knew you'd do that. Count Duckula.
Count Duckula. What's wrong with me?
Please. So let's jump into the 2000s. The first time it was officially used in an official capacity by Lucasfilm was in 2005 on a movie poster promoting Revenge of the Sith, which was screening over the 4th of July weekend. So once again, Independence Day takes May the 4th be with you back. And you can see on the poster.
No, it's just cut off on your
It's
screen.
cut off.
Oh, it's cut off up there. Oh, no. Trust
Maybe
us.
at the top. There it is. There it is.
All right.
I was not drinking while I was doing my research. I really did see. Okay.
Did you see how panicky he looked? It's like, oh, no, this wasn't right.
Yeah, fireworks were going off indeed in my head. Later in the decade, fueled by the rise of social media, the meme-worthy May the 4th holiday began making the rounds, a little more visually. And in 2011, the first known organized event celebrating May the 4th was held in Toronto at the Toronto Underground Cinema. And it featured trivia events, costume contests, and Star Wars fan films. Star Wars Day became a thing following the Disney purchase of the franchise in 2013 with events at Disney parks, yada, yada. But a big moment happened in 2015, which really gave the day a lot of a boost in coverage, and that's photo 6, when on board the International Space Station on May the 4th, 2015, a bunch of astronauts watched the Star Wars movie.
That's cool.
In space.
That's cool.
That's the type of marathon I would sit for, because there's nothing else to do in space. And so those are our notable moments in May the 4th history. Other notable events happening on this day, on May the 4th, include the final episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which was May 4th, 2020. The first episode of The Bad Batch, which recently concluded, happened on May 4th, 2021. And most notably, today, Star Wars Day in downtown Bristol, May 4th, 2024. So there it is, your history of May the 4th be with you. And what a colorful history it is.
For sure, for sure.
Wow.
You were talking earlier about the Empire Strikes Back. And
Yes.
Memories of Empire.
Yes.
And if I may, I'll tell you a little bit about mine. They talk about the machete order of how to watch. Have you guys heard of this? How to watch the Star Wars films, where it's like you want to show them 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 6. I think is what it is.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
4? No. Wait. Yes.
4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. Anyway, I had my own machete order because it was 1983, and I knew that this movie, Return of the Jedi, was coming out. My older brother and my cousins were so excited, and I didn't really know really much about it. And my cousins had HBO, and it was, I want to say, late winter. Someone sent me an ad. There was actually a TV Guide ad for when A New Hope was on HBO there in 1983. And so we all went over to my cousin's house, and I watched Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. I was very excited. And all of a sudden, all those toys that my brother had, the very first toy I remember actually holding was a vintage Stormtrooper action figure. I can remember it like it was yesterday. I was probably only 3 or 4 at the time. And then all my cousins were excited about going to see Return of the Jedi in the theater. So I went to see Return of the Jedi. All of a sudden, Han Solo's in carbonite, Luke and Vader, there's all this history, and to me, it was like that was the sequel. And I'm like, I think I missed something. So my mom bought me the double LP story album, and I still have it. There's scratches all over it. I just devoured that. And I still hadn't seen the film, and my uncle was a huge Star Wars fan, and he pre-ordered it on Laserdisc. So it was the very first home video release of The Empire Strikes Back. So I saw episode 4, and I saw episode 6. And I got home from school one day, and the phone rang, and it was my uncle, and he said, "It came in. Come on over." Wow. And I got dropped off, and, rest is history. I saw Empire Strikes Back. And it became what I recognize now as an older fan. I recognize that it's the best. It's the best of all of the Star Wars films. But it's not my favorite. I know. It's not my favorite because nothing will ever top being... I was just talking to a guy here who's in the audience, Jason. Jason was telling me that he saw Phantom Menace when he was 6 years old in the theater. And nothing's going to top that first theatrical experience. So as much as I love Empire, Return of the Jedi is still my sentimental favorite.
Well, it's always your first,
Right.
It's the one that's... my first film was the actual Star Wars release in 1977. And I saw it many times in the years between Empire and the original film release. So my anticipation was through the roof. I knew I had to be there opening day. And I got to the theater, a whopping 2 or 3 hours before it began, which was unheard of back in those days. Nobody waited in line to see a movie. But we got there in enough time to find our way toward the front of what would eventually become a massive long line that went around the block. And I just recall, as a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, however old I was, walking the line and just seeing all of these people really excited to see Star Wars films. And, there weren't lightsabers flying around or anything like that. We basically had those plastic tubes on top of flashlights, which they sold in convenience stores. You go to the Walgreens and you come home with a Walgreens saber. It wasn't very inspirational, but it was the best we could do. But yeah, I saw it that night, and all the memories of being a kid with the imagination and the action figures, coming home and because I had some of the action figures before I actually saw the film.
They would put them out in advance.
Yeah.
And then it got your imagination just going wild, like, who could this be?
Right. And then you get home, and you're like, I know who you are, Bosk. And so, I just, having those times, those family times with my brother and my sister, and just being kids enjoying Star Wars. And that, to me, is what Empire Strikes Back represents. I saw it many times that year. Went to visit my uncle in northern Mississippi. And he goes, "You've probably seen Star Wars 1,000,000 times by now, The Empire Strikes Back." And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I only saw it once or twice." I had seen it like 10 times, but I wanted him to be like, "Oh, well, you need to see it again." So he took me to the theater, And I'll tell you, people in movie theaters in Mississippi, they talk a lot during the movie. They have a lot of things.
It's a Mississippi thing?
Oh, it must be.
A Southern thing?
It must be. But I do declare they were talking a lot in that movie theater. I just remember that.
So I got a question for you, because why do I have this memory about you spoiling yourself on parts of Empire Strikes Back? So this is...
Yes.
We haven't heard the full story. Max spoiled himself, at a Walden Books?
Well, the wait between Star Wars and Empire was... If it was for a kid, it was forever.
3 years is forever, yeah.
So they do this thing where they put the novelization out like a month before the movie gets released, which I never understood. Because they always act like these productions are big hush-hush, got to keep a secret quiet, and then they put the whole story out there on shelves a month before the film is released. So I grabbed that novel at Walden Books, and I went right to the end, because I wanted to see if the rumors were true. Because we've been hearing rumors about that film.
Rumors from Dave Prowse.
And spoiler alert, Darth Vader reveals himself to be Luke Skywalker's father in that film.
What?
Sorry. Too soon? Too soon? Too soon? 44 years later. Well, you know, I could be spoiling it for someone. I don't know. There's some younger Star Wars fans in the crowd, I think. There's one waving. Did you get that lightsaber at Walgreens? I hope not. Because that meant something in my day, you know. It was a plastic tube with a flashlight, and that was it. It was like, go home. I grabbed the book, the novelization of Walden Books, and I did read the whole thing before I saw the film. And the only thing that surprised me in Empire Strikes Back was when Luke lost his hand to the saber of Darth Vader. I was shocked by that. Because in the novelization, it doesn't really spell it out. The dude chopped off his hand. It doesn't say that. It just makes it seem like Luke got a cut or something. But that was the only shocking part. But it still didn't stop me from going back to that theater countless numbers of times, and I still watch it. I'll watch it tonight, and it'll be great here in this beautiful theater on that screen.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
Yes,
it's gonna be awesome.
Yes.
Well, you know, it's also the 25th anniversary of The Phantom Menace, and I don't think we can talk about spoilers without talking about that soundtrack album that came out like 2 weeks before it hit the theaters. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
The funeral of Qui-Gon Jinn.
Right.
Qui-Gon's funeral or whatever it was. But I had a similar experience to you with the Phantom Menace, because I mean that was 16 years waiting for a new Star Wars movie, and I did buy the novel. They came out with there was a Padme, there was a Darth Maul, there was a Obi-Wan, and so I bought the Obi-Wan cover. And I just remember I was in college in my college apartment just staring at it across the room like, should I read it? Should I open it? And so I read the prologue, which is that deleted scene about young Anakin meeting Greedo.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, that scene was so awesome. I'm like, no, I got to be surprised. I don't want to. And then I was really surprised when that scene was not in the movie at all.
Cutting room floor.
Yeah, but with spoilers. Well, we don't want to do spoilers here, but we do want to talk a little bit about the Tales of the Empire that premiered today. So, but we need some help to do that. We've got someone very special with us here at RFR. We've got RFR V.I.P. Eric from Phoenix. So if you've been listening to he makes his way up here. Wow, have you ever had an introduction like that?
No, I have never had an introduction like that, but that was amazing. Thank you.
That was awesome. All right, well, we want to talk a little bit about Tales of the Empire, and has just a little show of hands or shout out if you have not watched it.
No,
a lot of people haven't watched it. All right, we're going to be somewhat spoiler free.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts? I mean, we had the story of Morgan Elsbeth, and then we also had the story of Barriss Offee, and it was like with Morgan, we were learning about her history, and with Barriss, we were learning about her destiny. Mm-hmm. So I liked the dichotomy there. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, what I would say is just it kind of continued from an animation standpoint, Bad Batch. I mean, the animation, the visuals, the music, all of that was fantastic. The Morgan Elsbeth, without spoiling it, I thought did a really nice job of filling in some gaps. You know, if you think about the character that we see in The Mandalorian and Ahsoka, did a nice job filling some of that in. And I don't want to say it was dark, but it was dark. I mean, that first episode, once again, I'm not going to say what happened, but it was a different way to think of bad guys that I hadn't necessarily thought of as scary or creepy or difficult to beat. And I thought I really liked that first episode.
Yeah.
Agreed. The whole thing was really good because it was a cohesive story. It seemed like two separate stories about two different individuals. And when you take the sum total of their half of, I guess we're calling this a season, right?
Yeah.
So because they drop them all.
But you know
once.
what's odd? It's season 1. So on Disney Plus, they didn't make this season 2 of Tales of the Jedi.
Right.
It's its own thing.
But when you put those stories together, you get these 45-minute long mini movies, essentially, that are very character focused. And with the Morgan Elsbeth stuff, it does a great job of introducing us to the character and finding out the path she took to when we finally meet her in The Mandalorian Season 2 with Ahsoka, of course, on that planet Corvus, which is a burnt-out forest. We see it in Mandalorian Season 2, but we find out how Morgan ended up there and what was going on behind the walls of that walled-in city. And it's just a wonderful story. And then Barriss Offee, of course, that's a character we followed all the way up until the end of the Clone Wars. And, when did she? Season 5, the end of Season 5 of Clone Wars, the episodes where Ahsoka got framed for bombing the Jedi Temple. We find out in those episodes it was actually Barriss Offee who set her up. In these series of shorts, it tells a great story about what happened to Barriss after she was imprisoned and the Empire took over the galaxy. And
I'll tell you what I like.
I'll
tell you what I like most about I think I enjoyed the Barriss Offee stories better than I did the Morgan Elsbeth. Felt like they put a bunch of Star Wars characters in a hat and just like, well, who are we going to do? Morgan Elsbeth, why not? It felt very random to me. But with the Barriss Offee, what I really liked is I felt that we started to get to know the Inquisitors a lot better, and they felt for the first time fully realized, fully dimensional. Now I go back and watch Kenobi or other series where the Inquisitors are, and it's given me a different perspective and something to think about. And that's what I love when they fill in these gaps, what it does, because then it changes the way you look at the stuff that you watched before.
Yeah, and there was some visual stuff in the Barriss episodes that kind of harken back to things we've seen that we haven't seen in the timeline, but we end up seeing. I thought they did a nice job with that. But yeah, it was enjoyable. Morgan Elsbeth I really liked because I found her a compelling character. Was really disappointed. Spoiler alert: she dies in the Ahsoka series, but I liked her.
Does
story.
she?
Yeah. I think didn't the mountain crash on top of her?
Yeah, let's do something on Morgan Elsbeth because we might be seeing her again. Maybe Dave does not like to kill his characters. Yeah. He does not like to kill his darlings. But I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, I think the Night Sister magic is cool, and if they're going to be resurrecting, which we all kind of assume that's what's going to happen, they're going to be resurrecting these witches when they're in the GFFA proper prime. What are we going to call that? Why can't she be resurrected?
Right. Yeah, and then a whole Night Sisters storyline. If you go back to the Clone Wars, the Night Sisters, or the stuff that was in Ahsoka. That was really interesting stuff. And so, with these shorts, you got a little bit more insight into them. So it like I said, it filled in a lot of gaps, ton of fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad they put them out.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm looking forward to more of these. And I'd like to see them come out a little bit more regularly. Like maybe if they could do 2 of these a year, like kind of bookmark the year, it would be great because then they'll just get to a lot more characters. And, you might not always be excited about the character, but even though I wasn't dying to hear about Morgan Elsbeth's origins, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to read.
I like that. Filled in the blanks with that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought she was a pretty compelling character in both The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. So I welcome the backstory.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Diana Lee Inosanto is phenomenal. She does do the voice for the older Morgan. They get someone else to do the younger, and I thought they did a real nice job connecting the two characters, and I thought it was real good. But let's talk a little bit about Empire Strikes Back. Since we're talking Tales of the Empire, let's tell a little bit about Tales of the Empire Strikes Back for Eric from Phoenix. Did they get the movie in Phoenix?
They might have. I lived in Iowa at the time.
Oh, at the time.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I did get to go see it. And what's funny is we had went on vacation, and I begged my mom to buy me The Making of Empire Strikes Back magazine. It was like a white magazine, but I wasn't even 8 at the time, and there was a lot of small print in there. So all I did is look at some of the pictures, and unlike Jimmy, I didn't get spoiled at all before the movie came out. And then, of course, after the movie came out, I found a way to read all the fine print, small words that were in there.
Yeah.
And my cousin had told me before the movie, he goes, oh, there's this really gross scene with Darth Vader where you see his brain in the movie. And I was so scared. I was so worried that I was going to see Darth Vader's brain
I
in
could
the
see
movie.
how you could think that.
And I'm like, I don't know, this is going to be so gross. And then I saw it, and I'm like, it's just a couple scars. Why did he tell me it was his brain? You don't see his brain.
That was the most compelling part about the movie to me, though.
Yeah, right.
Getting that brief glimpse under Vader's helmet.
It's a dude. It's a guy. It's not a robot. Like at the time, we didn't know if it was really a guy or, if it was
a droid
or what he was.
And is that Admiral Piat that sees when he kind of like throws up in his mouth a little bit? It's really an extreme reaction to that. Yeah.
That's some good acting, though.
All right.
Is Empire Strikes Back your favorite?
100%. Yeah, it was my favorite growing up, still my favorite today.
Well,
all right, man.
Thank you so much for all your great support. You're an excellent Patreon VIP. You've been with the show for a long time, and I sure do enjoy when you host RFR Q&A with me, and we always have a lot of laughs. So
you bet. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Eric from Iowa via Phoenix.
Thanks, buddy. All right, we'll keep the good times going here. As we mentioned earlier, we've got the Phantom Menace back in theaters right now. Did anybody go already to see? Great. All right. Can you imagine? I mean, when the you know what hit the fan with that movie back in '99? I don't think any of us could have imagined that it was going to, at that time, be something that gets re-released, like the classics, the originals. Now it's already had 2 re-releases. You had the 3D release and now the 25th anniversary release, and I think it's safe to say that the prequels have aged quite well, like a fine wine. So here to give us some info and some, his experience of seeing the Phantom Menace re-release and that new Acolyte footage, we got our buddy Chris Sorrentino.
Better known as Baby Belushi.
Yes.
Baby Belushi. There he goes. Nice.
Good night. See you later.
Boy, how about those moves, huh? Do we have an oxygen tank in the house?
Oh, man.
We need an oxygen tank to the stage
maybe.
Immediately. It's great to see you, buddy. Now, we call you Baby Belushi because you have an uncanny appearance. You look like a young John Belushi.
So I'm told.
And sometimes you act like a young John Belushi. Here, maybe you want...
So my wife says.
There you go. Put those on. And there's the look is complete.
Look.
He's on a mission from God, for sure.
From George.
But we're so happy that you're here. And I understand you took the boys to see The Phantom Menace. Is that their first experience seeing that film in the theater?
Not mine, but theirs. That's why
that's what I meant, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like we had to. You know what I mean? Like they grew up on The Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Did they have fun going with Pops to see a Star Wars movie?
They did. They went with my buddy. He's here with me, Red 5 Strong. We brought our families, and they... all right. Let's not mince words. No, this is like 1999 all over again.
He's struggling
Did you like
because...
it? Well, I mean...
He can't quite get out a sentence without profanity, and he knows he's not allowed to swear up here on stage. So, pardon Chris if he struggles with putting the sentence together.
Listen, we watch the holiday special every year at my house.
Yeah.
For fun, you know what I mean? So we love the Phantom Menace in my household.
Yeah.
Wow,
what a sell that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's, like I said, I'm not mincing words. Nobody's up here going like, we gotta see the Phantom Menace. It's like, oh, the Phantom Menace is up. Like, come on, you know we're going, right?
It's a little like that. But I mean, having seen it so many times, this is my experience when I see something on the big screen again, are those little details that you forgot about. Was there anything that kind of jumped out at you on the big screen that you just forget?
You know what really weirded me out? And I was thinking about it.
I can only imagine.
What's that?
I said I can only imagine.
Oh. So the Jedi Council denies Anakin's training, right? Multiple times until the very end. The Jedi Council comes to Naboo for a certain funeral that was ruined for us by a freaking soundtrack CD.
Right.
They show up there, and then they grant Obi-Wan the permission to train him. Then all of a sudden, they got a suit for him. Like, they came with a little kid Jedi suit? Like, maybe? Was it Yoda's pajamas? Yeah, you can wear them. Go ahead. Yeah, well,
just so happens.
Make him feel special. He's a little kid. Like,
I never thought of this before.
Why did they happen to have an extra set of little kid Jedi robes?
I'll take you up a notch on that. When the Ewoks capture Princess Leia, they just happen to have a dress in her size in the village waiting for her.
Yeah.
I think they put that little number together pretty swiftly. I think they did. They took
measurements. A real
measurements.
dark origin to that dress and how they...
Yeah, I've heard the theories that possibly, that was like peel before you eat shrimp style dress. You know what I mean?
I mean, they put Han on a rotisserie with his clothes on. You fill in the blanks there.
So it was a great experience for you as a dad to take your kids to see a movie from 25 years ago that really has resonated with you and your family.
Yeah, well, like I said, so they grew up on the Phantom Menace and the prequels, obviously, just watching on Blu-rays and DVDs. So this is like their prime Star Wars. They got to see this as children. Where I got to see Phantom Menace as like a young 20-something-year-old guy, it's a completely different movie,
Yeah,
right.
For sure. And you sort of see it through their eyes.
Yes.
So some of the silliness or the kiddie moments in the film are a little more digestible when you look through it through the eyes of a child and see it that way.
Yeah, but I'm not kidding, man. My 14-year-old, he still is like rolling his eyes when Jar Jar or a Nemoidian speaks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he looks at me like,
Am I allowed to laugh at this, Dad? Is this funny?
Yeah. Am I allowed to watch this now?
So my son is 25 and my younger son is 21, and they like the Phantom Menace. Mm-hmm. And they say something that's really enhanced the prequels as they age is the rise of social media and the meme.
Yes.
There's like a lot of great prequel era memes out there online that the younger generation understands maybe a little more readily. And it kind of, whoever thought that would rope in fandom,
It really, seriously, like, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees is my favorite meme to just throw anywhere. Anytime anybody asks anything, but what about the droid attack on the Wookiees? I gotta know.
I think RFR has created a few memes along the way, too, like the CO Bibble. It's outrageous. It's unthinkable. Things like that.
That greatest mullet in the whole saga. There's like nothing on top, but the back, he's got the Ben fucking Franklin.
There it is.
Nobody should be doing that to Ben Franklin. I'm sorry, everybody. This pod your mouth's going to go to the band.
Very passionate Ben Franklin fan.
I'm sorry.
And at the Phantom Menace, did you see the footage from The Acolyte?
Yes, which is weird. You know what? I want to know, because anybody who had seen it as well, back in New York, they played it after the movie. But I'm hearing other places they played it before the movie.
Oh, interesting.
Anybody?
Before or after?
After. Everyone says after.
Oh, everybody. So maybe this one guy lied to me.
Like after,
All
like,
right.
you had to sit through the whole credits?
Yeah, which is weird because you would think...
That is weird.
It's an advertisement. You want to bait the people who don't know about Star Wars. Because people know about Star Wars, you got them already. Like, it's not like, come on, please watch the new Star Wars show, Star Wars guys. You'd think you'd want to play it before it to maybe the new kid whose father loves Star Wars, but they never connected on it. So like, let me take it in a fan of minutes. You're going to love this one, son.
Oh, you're right.
You know, like...
You're right.
Like, why wouldn't they play it before? And it's weird because they say at the beginning of the film, we're going to be playing a trailer after. And then certain people do show up late. And then the movie ends and they get up and walk out. They had no idea that this thing was playing.
Or they didn't want to see it.
Lucasfilm isn't paying me. I'm not...
You're not going to go around to each individual
like the usher,
in the audience.
like
and say,
We've gone from the point where you used to sneak in to see a trailer to now leaving before the trailer plays.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Wacky.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Weird business model.
Well, let's talk about the footage. How did it compare to what we've seen so far that's been officially released?
Excuse me. It was more of an extended... The bulk of it was an extended scene of stuff we had seen already. And it was...
Was it a whole scene or was it a mixture of like another
No,
trailer,
it was a whole
basically?
scene. It was
a
like
whole scene.
A clip, like, looked like the way it was cut beginning to end of a confrontation in a bar.
Oh, that okay.
Yes.
So between, I think May is the character, and then the character
Correct.
played by
Yeah, the Carrie-Anne
Moss.
Carrie-Anne Moss. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of like that. I'm sure, like a truncated version of that scene, like a clip from that entire scene, not just like, little snippets. Which was very odd because it playing after The Phantom Menace, the Nick Gillard,
that style.
Fight choreography versus what they're showing the Acolyte, which is very Hong Kong wire work.
Kung Fu. And,
it really didn't flow well, especially after that great, final duel in The Phantom Menace.
Maybe one of the most iconic of all of the
I gotta say, Phantom Menace, not my favorite Star Wars film, but that duel, my favorite Star Wars.
Absolutely, yeah. The true highlights, I think, of that film are not only the fact that it ended 16 years of Star Wars film drought, but it has the great saber duel and the great soundtrack. The John Williams soundtrack is just so excellent. And was the sound system in the theater you saw the film at? Was it doing it justice? Yeah.
I was thinking of it because I was like, all right, Ben Burt was the editor on this one, and it really comes through. Well, he was a co-editor on this one. It really comes through the sound design he does on this film, as opposed to the rest that I could recall from memory seeing in theater. Like you said, the battle droid tanks coming up over the hills and the boo and everything. Like just the sound of the pod race sound alone. Like I could watch that scene with my freaking eyes closed and love it.
I have heard fans, and very astute fans, criticize Ben Burt's editing because he is a sound guy, and there's some people that think that he really buries John Williams' music in the mix and
Tell him
pushes
to watch
those
the
effects
freaking
out.
Phantom Menace. No way! That thing is John Williams on steroids.
I didn't say I think that. I'm just saying there are people out there that do think that. So
that's
seeing it in the theater, the big sound system, think it's mixed all right.
It is beautiful. Yeah, it really did it for me.
And any thoughts, memories you'd like to share about growing up with Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah, there's this one time I saw it, and I told this kid to tell this other little kid about, seeing Darth Vader's brains. It really freaked him out. So he went and did it.
I guess we did discuss that already, didn't we? Well, Chris Sorrentino, our friend Baby Belushi, thank you for my sunglasses back.
Jimmy, I love you. Jason, I love you. Thank you for having me on, you guys. Happy May the 4th. I'll see you guys later.
You guys want to hear some music? Yeah. I mean, we got this great band here behind us. How many people in the band, Glenn?
There are 10 people in High Adventure. One of them could not make it today, but so you have a 9-piece band, you guys.
9 pieces.
Wow.
And these guys are going to be bringing it. Tell us a little bit about the song you're going to play, Glenn.
Well, as you guys know, we have some Ahsoka songs. We have 3 of them, a trilogy. And this is one that you have never heard played live, probably, because I don't think we've played it live until now. It is still relevant. We still don't know the fate of Ahsoka. That's my daughter, Vale, right there. She has always been and will always be my Ahsoka. Oh. And so this is for her and all of you. Ahsoka lives. Take it away. We thought we lost you, never to return. They broke your heart, your final lesson learned. You turned your back, you had to walk away. But here you are, in the light of day. Many years have passed, you're not a child anymore. You've seen so much sadness, you've had your fill of war. But something deep inside you made you come out of the dark. Take up arms and fight, and help ignite the spark. Ahsoka lives, fire across the galaxy. Makes us believe again that one day we will all be free. Ahsoka lives, that's what the people say. And the force that surrounds, it ain't ever gonna go away. Following the light, standing up for what is right. You come back to us, put our trust in you. And the power of hope you give, Ahsoka lives. Now that you're back, the question's setting in. How you escaped the purge, and where have you been? What have you learned? What visions have you seen? Why are your weapons white instead of green? The answer to these questions, wait for another day. We thank the Maker for this miracle we prayed. Dark times will be ahead, today we celebrate. But still we wonder, what will be your fate? Ahsoka lives, fire across the galaxy. Makes us believe again that one day we will all be free. Ahsoka lives, that's what the people say. And the force that surrounds, it ain't ever gonna go away. Following the light, standing up for what is right. You came back to us, put our lust in you. And the power of hope you give, Ahsoka lives. Across the galaxy, makes us believe again that one day we will all be free. Ahsoka lives, that's what the people say. And the force that surrounds, it ain't ever gonna go away. Following the light, standing up for what is right. You came back to us, we put our trust in you. And the power of hope you give, Ahsoka lives. And the power of hope you give, Ahsoka lives. Ahsoka lives. Ahsoka lives, yeah. Thank you.
Great job, guys. That is awesome. That is awesome. We have some very, very, very talented people in the Rebel Force Radio listening audience. Glenn, his band, been friends for a long time. And we have it's a diverse audience. We've got, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, all kinds of people. We've got people that are attorneys. We've got people that are in the military, armed services, everything. We have people that have won Oscars and Grammys and Emmys and Tonys.
Wait, what?
Yeah, we have listeners that have not just won an Oscar, but like won an Oscar, a Grammy, an Emmy, a Tony, EGOT. We've got EGOTs.
An EGOT?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
No, we promised you surprises, folks. And this is a great surprise and a great honor to bring to the stage a Grammy, an Emmy, a Tony, an Oscar winner. He is the composer, along with his wife, Kristen, of Frozen, Frozen 2, Coco, The Book of Mormon, Avenue Q. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Lopez.
All right. Can't see this. Do it. Can't see the two. 1, 2, 3, and... Oh, yeah.
Oh, right on.
Great, you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Lopez.
What an honor. What
Great
an
song,
honor.
too.
Now, we connected years and years ago when you sat in on an episode of Star Wars Oxygen, the music of John Williams, a show that we did that explored all of the soundtracks. And you really impressed me because you agreed with a lot of the crap I was saying.
It's a great show.
I love this guy, I'm thinking to myself. But
oh, my God. It was hugely inspiring to me because it was around that time that we were making the Frozen Broadway show and Frozen 2, and I was trying to think of, like, how do you expand a musical saga, sort of, and John Williams is my favorite. So what you guys were talking about was, was opening doors to me.
It's interesting because you don't think there have been very few examples of a musical having a sequel. We see that with film all the time, and so, but a musical, you're telling the story through music. So I'm sure that was an extra challenge.
We were super scared because, we can count the number of musical sequels we love on very few fingers.
True. Very.
Yeah. Annie 2, anyone? Love Never Dies, the sequel to The Phantom of the Opera. I know my brother. I like that show too.
The Best Little Whorehouse Goes Public.
Grease 2?
Grease 2. Oh my God, with
You're
Adrian
right.
Zmed. I remember that one. Unbelievable.
So I was just going to say, so how did you find the John Williams to be helpful as you were working on Frozen 2?
Well, a lot of what you guys were talking about was the motifs, the leitmotifs that he uses. Very, very Wagnerian technique. And Wagner was also the guy who made the Ring Cycle, which was a huge, Tolkien inspiration and Star Wars inspiration. And I think it really gave birth to movie music in general. So thinking about themes, thinking about that stuff, and we used parts of what existed to make new songs. We took the seeds and grafted them, basically.
Have you ever considered the possibility or potential of a Star Wars musical?
I think about it almost every day.
Really? Tell, Robert.
I've been thinking about it since I was a kid, but the thing that always stops me is how bad an idea it is.
I remember hearing a story once about Jim Steinman, the songwriter, wrote all the great Meatloaf tunes, and he had an idea for a Batman Broadway musical. And the story was that one of those, it sounded like a good idea, but every time Batman in the costume, as they were workshopping this thing, started to sing, everyone laughed. So I can understand. Yeah, we don't really want that with Star Wars.
You don't want to mix your genres that closely, but maybe there'll be a way of doing it one day. I've been trying to think of a way where you would actually want to hear songs, but it's a long shot.
Without it becoming cop rock or something like that.
I think The Simpsons came close at one point.
My teacher, Maury Yeston, who wrote Titanic and he wrote 9, he wrote a bunch of, he's a Tony-winning composer. He was approached by Harold Prince to write a Star Wars musical in the 70s, right when they kind of like in the holiday special era when they didn't know what it was, like.
Right.
And he wrote a couple of songs on spec.
Wow.
No
For
kidding.
Hal Prince, and one of them was a song. It was I think it was whatever it was Luke's "I Want" song. For that moment, he's looking at the twin sons, and it was a great song. Nothing happened with it, but
Are there demos?
I think there are. And then,
Really?
but then, do you know the show Titanic?
Oh yes, very
It's
well.
the main song in Titanic. He
It
rewrote
is.
the lyrics.
He wrote there she is.
Yeah, that one. Yep.
All right, we could geek out about Broadway a lot.
I will fly. And that was how it went.
I love it. I love it. All right, we got to keep it to Star Wars. Fine, no more Titanic. But that's fascinating that was a project. And like you say, when you watch the great documentary, A Great Disturbance, you realize there was this incredible period of time when like anything was possible.
Yep.
So Broadway musical, yeah.
Never say never, folks.
Never say never.
You never know. You never know.
Well, I did the Jar Jar song with Miko, who did the Disco Star.
Yeah, right, yes, yeah.
Which was from that same era, basically, of like let's cash in on Star Wars, basically.
Right. So you worked with Miko.
I worked with Miko on
No
this
kidding.
Jar Jar rap called Jar Jar's Cousin, or Cousin Jar Jar. And it really is a horrendous song. If you ever want to find it, it's on YouTube.
How did you get connected with Miko?
It's a long story. My friend was a famous jingle singer, and he got the call from Miko. They wanted some lyrics to this rap. They wanted to do a song about Jar Jar because they thought Jar Jar was the key to everything, right? Jar Jar's the key to this movie. And so he said, I want to be sensitive to the copyright. So we're going to have what I'm thinking is Jar Jar walks into the club, and everyone says, Jar Jar, how you doing? And he says, no, it's not me, it's not Jar Jar, I'm Jar Jar's cousin, you see. So, Your Honor.
P. Usa.
Now I gotta ask, when you heard that Lin-Manuel Miranda was getting a chance to write lyrics for a tune in The Force Awakens, Jabba Flow, were you a little jealous?
Oh, man. I mean, that's a whole book. But I would have dueled him in Weehawken, let's put it that way.
Ooh. Maybe someday. Maybe someday you
No,
duel.
Lin is a good friend, and I thought he wrote an amazing song. But I would have died to write that. Oh, my God.
Wow. How did he get hooked up with the production? Was it JJ?
It's just his amazing luck.
Well, I guess. when you're the guy who created Hamilton, it really
it's helpful. It's helpful.
pays off after a while. So, and of course, Empire Strikes Back is screening tonight.
Yes.
Do you recall some early Empire Strikes Back memories?
Well, I saw it. I was around for the first screening, in the theaters, and first of all, I think what we don't talk about enough is how traumatized all us kids were by Empire Strikes Back. It was really a sad ending, a very scary and harsh kind of feeling, and then we had to wait for 3 years before the happy ending. So we weren't as lucky as you to
Right.
kind of watch the end first.
I only had to wait a few months.
You didn't have to be scarred by it.
The emotional scarring.
But I had the comic. That it was like a novelization, but it was the comic book, and my grandpa read it to me in the months before the show, and I just remember his pronunciations of all the planets and characters were so wildly off from what they ended up being. It was Dagobah to me.
Well, George himself has been known to kind of spin a different
This
pronunciation.
is true. He was from a different sector of the galaxy,
Right,
probably.
yeah, exactly.
Very true. Now, we have a photo of something from your private collection.
Oh.
And can we put that on the screen,
do it.
Jason? Can you explain to us what exactly is going on with this autographed photo?
Well, the last time that I ever did anything collective with Star Wars, I never went to a convention or anything like that, but I did. My parents took me to Macy's to meet Darth Vader, and the line with Darth Vader was too long, so I went on the Boba Fett line instead, and Boba Fett autographed this picture to me, and I found it when I was going through some things because we're moving, and I think it's very sweet.
What year was this?
I think it was 1980.
1980.
Wow.
Yeah.
At Macy's?
Yeah.
That's where you usually find your Sith Lords on the weekend. At Macy's.
It's your Class 1 bounty hunters.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I just love that it's autographed Boba Fett. You know, like,
gotta get it framed.
In my mind, it was to Bobby Love Boba Fett.
You gotta get it framed.
Yeah, that.
I mean, really, that's
gonna
essential.
happen.
do you have the was it the promo costume that they used that had kind of the you probably maybe don't remember, but because they were
think I really
it
even
evolved
know who
on
he
that
was.
promo trail.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He had the Wookiee pelts and
Right.
was it a different rocket or something?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah,
Right.
and he's got a different gun in the picture.
Yes, he does.
But yeah, I don't know.
That's awesome. That you,
A true brush with greatness.
but
Boba Fett himself.
do you look back and wish it was the Darth Vader autograph? Are you happy?
I
with
was
the
scared. I remember being scared. Like, oh,
Okay.
no, I shouldn't go. But I remember Boba Fett was like really cool. Just like,
Oh, yeah,
I mean, he
of
just
course.
looks cool. I love that guy.
It's all in the costume, as he said.
What a thrill. What a thrill. Well, usually when we have notable personalities join us here on RFR, we like to wrap up our conversations with the world famous Yoda questionnaire.
Right.
And with Mr. Robert Lopez here tonight, this is a perfect time to unleash the questions. They're very simple questions
But
on
are
the
they?
surface, on the surface, and can be answered by anyone. But sometimes your answers might be incorrect, and we will be very swift in our judgment to let you know. So tread lightly.
I'm usually incorrect.
All right.
Let's hit it. Take it away, Richard Cheese.
The Yoda questionnaire.
Maybe that could
that
be in the
song.
Star Wars musical.
Now, Mac did say that some questions can be wrong. I like to think that there's no wrong answer, but some are more right than others. Put it that way.
That's very diplomatic.
So we're going to start, Robert, with your first question. Who or what, got to be inclusive here, who or what is your favorite Star Wars character?
Favorite Star Wars character? Gosh, I mean, you know, it's a boring answer, but I think Han Solo for sure. I mean,
you got to love
come
Han
on.
Solo. Right.
What is it about Han that appeals to you as a Star Wars fan?
He's just cool. He's romantic. He's amazing. He's. Wait, what? I mean, he's funny. He brings a dry sense of humor to basically every sci-fi situation that could, without him, be pretty dopey.
Yeah, he's your quintessential intergalactic smartass.
right.
And that's what always attracted me to Han Solo, for sure, because he was always sort of like out of place with all of these wizards and Sith Lords and soldiers and stormtroopers. He's just a dude cruising through the galaxy like, what the hell?
He's just trying not to look uncool.
And that's impossible for Han Solo.
All right. That was a light side question. Now we're going to kind of have to
It's a good answer.
turn to the dark side a little bit, Robert, with who or what is your least favorite Star Wars character?
Yeah, that's a bummer of a question, but I was just thinking in Attack of the Clones, the librarian, Joe Castanew. I feel she's not my favorite because the way she
That
says,
poor old lady? What'd she ever do to you, Robert Lopez?
She's a little stiff. I mean, she is a little stiff.
Does she remind you of an old librarian maybe you had in school? Or
I love librarians. They're wonderful, but she's so. When she says, if it's not in our database, it doesn't exist. I just kind of want to go like, well, maybe you could just look again or something.
That is a first, ladies and gentlemen. First answer to the Yoda questionnaire.
That's a
that
good
question.
answer.
Well, you have an awesome job, obviously, in the real world. But what job in the Star Wars universe would you most like to have?
Cantina band, keyboard player, I guess. Max Rebo, probably. Yeah.
Max Rebo. Okay. All right. So you would, what kind of joint you'd like to play? The cantinas and the Jabba's palaces?
I would gig around. Yeah, that would be so much.
Do you
fun.
always-
Right, guys?
Here it is. All right. There's just a little taste.
All right. What job in the Star Wars universe would you absolutely not want to touch?
What's the name of the? Is it Canto Bite?
Canto Bite.
Sweeping those creatures.
Mucking the stalls of the. What were those called?
Be a stable boy is what they would call you.
Farriers?
That was farriers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big horses.
Yeah.
We actually, Kristen and I got invited to see. We were friends with the Hamills, and we got invited to episode 8 shoot, and we got to see those creatures, the Faviers or whatever it was. And
You were on the set.
We saw the crystal foxes. We saw those things. I was like, I wonder what that'll be.
I thought they were just CG. You
Yeah, me
actually
too.
saw them. They found crystal foxes to film this movie.
Oh yeah.
It's great.
Wow. That must have been a thrill for you.
It was amazing. We got to shoot some guns. We got the crossbow.
Unbelievable.
All right, now you're just bragging.
No, that's pretty cool. Hey, Lin-Manuel, he can write all the songs he wants. You're shooting it up in the galaxy far, far away. I think that's a greater prize.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Call us next time. Call us. We're friendly with Mark. He likes us.
Yeah, we've interviewed him a couple of times. Yeah.
If he remembers us.
All right. Robert, I got one more here for you, okay?
Okay.
If there is another Star Wars movie to be made, which we know there will be, I'm going to twist this a little bit for Robert. If there's another Star Wars movie to be made, and George Lucas himself is coming back to direct it, and he asks you to write the score, what would you like to hear him say as you lowered your baton for the last time in that recording studio?
That'll work.
That'll work. That'll work.
Well...
Actually, wait, I have one story, though. I did get to meet George
please.
once. I got to meet George for Avenue Q. He came to see the show. He brought his kids, and which I guess maybe is a little adult for them.
Sure.
But he came backstage. He wanted to see the backstage and the puppets and all that stuff. And I happened to be there that night, and I got to give him a little tour backstage.
Wow.
And he wasn't saying much. I was just like, this is where the dressing rooms are. This is where we keep the puppets. We have racks and racks of different puppets. And he was like, the only thing he said was, yeah, we brought this art form to its zenith with Yoda.
It's cute what you guys are doing on Broadway. But doesn't come miles away from Yoda.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Not wrong.
Oh, wow.
Well, George Lucas is a tough guy to impress, let's face it. That's amazing. Well, how cool. And, thank you so much for joining us here in Bristol. I understand you are a Patreon supporter.
Yep.
And how about
Jim,
that?
Jimmy, can I tell Bobby one quick story, please, before Bobby leaves? Sorry. My daughter, Vale, is a singer, and she sings 4 to 5 hours a day. And she sings at least 2 or 3 times a day. She sings Let It Go for 11 years. And I've done the math, Bobby. I've heard Let It Go sung by my daughter right there, Vale, over 10,000 times.
Well,
and it's a very small club to be in, and I want to tell you, it's still a good song.
Thank you. And I'm sorry.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to Robert Lopez again. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you.
Now and in the future. Robert Lopez, ladies and gentlemen. Take their photos with the band now. Excellent.
Musicians. All right. What is coming up next? Okay.
Another musician, ladies and gentlemen, will be joining us.
We do. All right. Well, we want to talk a little bit about more about these Empire Strikes Back memories and things. So we're going to be bringing up to the stage. Please welcome another RFR VIP on Patreon, Matt Rashid.
Oh, no, just. There he is as he jogs up the ramp. Matt Rashid, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. There's. All right.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow.
Now,
Matt Rashid.
Matt Rashid is very notable because I think he's the very first ever RFR VIP. I really
think
do.
that's right, yeah. I think
And
so.
you were the host of the very first ever RFR Q&A.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And that would, well, that would be my fault.
I remember
I'm
I
sure.
had like wrote questions.
But we're now at over 200 episodes of the Q&A, so you kicked off something pretty strong there, my friend.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me the shot.
Yeah, are you kidding me? It was my pleasure. I mean, my God. So we host a show together with our good friend who's in the back manning the camera, Mr. Tyler Page.
Y'all know Tyler.
Everyone knows Tyler.
He's back there observing the program. He is the official RFR program observer, so he's doing his job. Don't disturb him.
Usually Tyler's manning the RFR switchboard, but for this show, he's manning the RFR camera. So good job, Tyler. But Tyler and Matt and myself get together every month to play Star Wars RPG on a show called RFR RPG. And it was Matt's mission to get me into the world of role-playing games, which is something I never did in my life. There was a Dungeons & Dragons group at my high school, a club. And there were a couple times when I paid those guys visits after school. It wasn't pretty.
You weren't playing Dungeons & Dragons, were you? You were shoving them into lockers.
Well, it didn't get that far, Jason. But they were great fodder for comedy, those guys. And when I was a sophomore, junior in high school, I was exhibiting my funny bone many times.
You like kick down the door and be like, "Was it some kind of nerd thing?"
I'm not going to go into detail. Let's just say some of those guys probably are still talking to the therapist about some of the visits I made. But I've come to really enjoy the whole idea of role-playing games. It's a lot of fun. It's because as creative people, we get to exhibit our creativity in a really fun way. And Matt is the game master extraordinaire, and he runs a tight ship, let me tell you. There are times, though, when you guys get really down in the weeds with the mechanics of the game, and you see my eyes glass over.
Yeah, he just glazes over, and after a couple of years, you start to see the signs. He gets.
I think it's very intimidating with the role-playing game because there's such a passionate type of fan that plays these games that it can be, I think the price of entry seems very high for something like that. Do you have any advice for people that are just, they think maybe this is something I might want to do?
That's a good question.
Well, yeah, actually, it's a good point that you raised, Jason, because for years it was very, there was a high barrier to entry. It's like there was a lot of gatekeeping going on. And a lot of rules and mechanics and all this stuff. And it's really over the years kind of evolved into something that's more about company, fellowship, storytelling, and having a good time with your friends. So if you're interested in any kind of role-playing, tabletop role-playing with your friends, just about every IP has a beginner box set. And it just gives you like the basic rules, just to get started, gives you everything you need, and just have fun. It's not about like being hardcore with the rules. Wouldn't you say we're pretty flexible with
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility
right?
going on there.
I'm okay.
I'd say, and a lot of hand-holding as far as my position in the game goes, but
No,
you
you
make
do
it
all
fun,
right.
you make it easy, you make it something I can understand and enjoy. And so we have that show coming out every month on RFR on Patreon. It's called RFR RPG. There's a video component to it as well. So yeah, check it out if you're RPG curious.
We have fun. I think I have fun.
We do have a good time. Do you want to share any Empire Strikes Back memories with us?
Empire Strikes Back.
It's the
second one.
it's the second one that came out.
It's the blue one. It's the blue one, right? It's the blue one.
Might have come across it in your role-playing game at once.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yes. I remember because like you, Jimmy. I saw the A New Hope in the theater, and then we had that 3-year period. I think I was 4 when I saw A New Hope. So going from 4 to 7 is a big gap by the time Empire Strikes Back came out. And I just remember in a magazine that my mom had shown me about, the article was out about the movie that was coming out, the new Star Wars movie. And they had that shot of Vader reaching out to Luke, who's holding on to the the pipe on Bespin.
Yeah.
And just that visceral feeling of, oh my gosh, Luke and Vader are going to finally meet. I think it's lost on people that first movie, they didn't meet. And we went 3 years without them ever meeting. They would show up in comic books might have adventures where, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader battle, or Splinter of the Mind's Eye, but they never actually met until then. And I was just blown away that I'm seeing them finally together. And the
heck of a first meeting.
Yeah, and the back of Bespin kind of looked Death Star-ish, I remember, to me. The lights are a little different. It's not quite the pillboxes, but there was a lot of lights, and I just remember really reacting to that, just being so excited to see that.
Is Empire your favorite?
Empire for a long time was my favorite, but I think A New Hope is my favorite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's a smattering of applause.
Yeah, I think A New Hope is my favorite.
For one of the greatest classic films of America's cinema.
Yeah, right?
A New Hope is what started it all. It was the most revolutionary. It was
they made it better.
Breaking. They didn't make it better. They made it better. All right, fine. Empire's the best. One for me.
But it doesn't have to be your favorite if you can acknowledge that it's the best. And I think that that's true, but the best doesn't have to be your favorite.
No, it doesn't. And also Empire, Empire needs A New Hope. It doesn't quite work without you don't get the payoff without
Very
A New
true.
Hope. And so, like you said, the original Star Wars is just classic cinema on its own. So if I had to take one to a desert island with me, it would probably be the original, the first one.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, Matt, it's great to see you here. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for being the best darn RPG game master around.
Thanks for playing. Thanks for coming to the table.
And thanks for your friendship. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Rashid.
Check it out, RPG, Rebel Force Radio, Patreon.
All right, let's get to that musician I was talking about before.
All right. So joining us here, we're going to do a little top 10, Star Wars top 10 with RFR V.I.P., Mr. Joe Dallas.
Joe, there he is. Look at him in a slow jog around the auditorium. Yes. Doesn't High Adventure sound great? It's great to see you, my friend.
Hey, Jimmy Mac, Jason.
Joe Dallas. Joe Dallas is a professional jazz musician from Key West, Florida. And he's played with a lot of big wigs and even has his own fan base. He's the leader of the band, at least from what I can tell, the photos that I see get posted online. And a very talented trombone player and bassist. So, again, there's a lot of talent swirling around RFR at all times, and we greatly appreciate our audience for being the best in the world. Why not? Yes.
How great is it to have a 9-piece band here with Glenn? It's insane. It's just unbelievable. These guys are great, man. They came here for this.
So Joe Dallas, being an RFR VIP on Patreon, often co-hosts RFR Q&A with me, which is a Patreon exclusive podcast you can only get if you are a supporter of Rebel Force Radio on Patreon. Patreon.com/Rebel Force Radio. And Joe always brings to the table a top 10 list, a Star Wars top 10 list. And so I asked him to prepare one for this particular show. Joe, I hope you did after all that.
Heck yeah.
Okay, good. All right. All right, so let's take it away with Joe Dallas' latest Star Wars top 10 list.
Well, let's see here. So I thought, well, we got to do one here that's about this day and this event because this is great and so glad to be here. So this is the top 10 reasons I'd rather be here in Bristol with RFR to celebrate May the 4th. Okay.
All right. Top 10 reasons Glenn, or top 10 reasons.
Yeah, that's Glenn.
I know.
He's a leader.
I know.
He's great.
So top 10 reasons Joe would rather be in Bristol than anywhere else.
Thanks, Paul.
To celebrate May the 4th.
That was good. You said that. Thanks, Paul.
That's what the list is.
That's what Paul does.
If
All
anybody's wondering what the list is, that's what it is.
They do it. Yeah, I like. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Number 10. Disney is too crowded, expensive, and way too far away.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Rather be here.
Good Lord, is it expensive?
Number 9. I was kind of hoping to catch Puppet Lando to see if our vinyl album is taking off and maybe borrow a cape from him.
Puppet Lando couldn't make the trip. He's a very busy man, as you know.
No, he's not under there.
He's not under there.
He's not here. He's looking under the table for the puppet.
Yeah, Puppet Lando.
Puppet's not here.
It's kind of like a boss for me.
He's a very busy puppet, and his people wouldn't let us near him for this particular.
All right, that was number 9.
Okay.
Number 8.
Number 8.
I wanted to see Tyler's beard in person.
Ooh.
Yeah. And he's back there. Not only did I get to see it in person, I got to go out to dinner with him last night and have a great time with him. And I thought we might just want to chant Grando, Grando.
Of course, Tyler portrays the character Grando the Gran in RFR RPG. He's a counterpart to my character, Podcastus.
A legend.
The hero of the story.
A legendary podcast. Number 7 was, I'm glad to be here because I'm not too busy hunting down toys from Hasbro. Nothing happening there.
Oh, there's nothing new?
Nothing I
Can't
want.
find anything on the
I'm
pegs?
getting tired of this. We need some more stuff. Okay. Number 6, I can finally say I know where Bristol is.
We found it. Yeah. Been looking.
Number 5 was I get to watch my favorite movie, The Empire Strikes Back, tonight.
Yes.
That's it. I don't have to watch The Last Jedi. Just Empire Strikes Back. That'll be good for me. I'll tell you, when I watched Empire, I thought that Darth Vader's a liar.
Yeah, a lot of people did.
Did you see his brains?
I saw his brains, and I thought, this guy's lying, man. But,
All right, number 4.
Yeah, number 4. My principal said, go ahead and take 2 days off and go to Bristol and hang out with your Star Wars friends.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
Joe is an educator as well as a musician, and he educates children about music.
That's right. And I thought, that's right, that's number 3. I want to shout out to my students and, who discovered RFR, and now they're listening to it too. And I want to shout out to my daughter, who's playing as Padme today on Fortnite as we speak, because she got it today for May the 4th.
Yeah, I have actually been seeing the alerts. My son has been downloading all the Star Wars skins today. So
Yeah, the skins, man. She's like, how about $20, Dad? I'm like, how about do your work?
And they know we're Star Wars dads. We're not going to say no to that.
That's it.
That's it. That's our weakness.
And today, actually being here at the show, I don't have to call 708-866-1737 because I'm here and you're not taking calls. But if I did call that number, would that put me in a parallel galaxy that I could only escape with Purgle assistance?
Good question. I might have to add that to the Yoda question there. That's good.
And my final number 1 thing about...
Wait.
Hey. Oh, we got a drummer! We got a drummer!
The number 1 reason Joe Dallas would rather be here than anywhere else on May the 4th.
With a percussionist and a drummer. That was nice. All right. Yeah. Number 1 thing I would say about being here in Bristol and coming to this town and then being here tonight is going to be the after party tonight. As we head into May, the Revenge of the 5th.
All right. There it is. Joe Dallas.
Joe Dallas, ladies and gentlemen.
Top 2.
All right.
Good job. He never fails to entertain. He's Joe Dallas. And you can hear him on RFR Q&A. And I think we got another one scheduled for some time.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah?
We have...
Okay, good.
All right.
So stay tuned for more Joe Dallas. Join Patreon, and you'll hear another top 10 list from this wacky guy, Joe Dallas.
Yes. All right. All right.
Joe's always a lot of fun. We have Hubert tournaments, me and Joe Dallas.
Hubert.
He beat me.
Where do you go
last
to
time,
play
too.
Hubert?
He did beat me last
Oh, the Galloping Ghost.
Yeah,
the Galloping
yeah.
Ghost, of course. Yes, yes.
Yeah, Joe's
Like a
very
time
serious
machine.
about it. Very serious player.
All right, what are we going to do next here? How about...
Let's jump into that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we do another song here from High Adventure?
Yeah.
How about
Guys
that? Would you
wanna
like to
play
hear another one?
something else? Now, I know you guys write a lot of songs that are tributes to certain Star Wars characters.
Yep.
But I'd like to hear a little tribute to... Oh, yeah, sure, you know. Why don't we get a little tribute to Qui-Gon happening here at the Bristol Theater?
You got it. By request.
What's
All
the
right,
name of
I
this?
assume that you guys know the vocal part. I'm not going to teach it to you, but you're going to figure it out. So don't forget to raise the hand of destiny. You'll know when. This is the way of Qui-Gon Jinn. Live moonless nights and starry days, a tale of hope he breathed. A warrior walked with hair of gray, an emerald blade he sheathed. A page brought to a planter's side, and seeds of doubt were sown. But tares were tossed, the night-reed fruit, from 'neath a field of stone. Allied with greed to loose a bond, and urged to wave his hand. His trusted judgment found the one, a gem among the sand. He rides the winds of destiny, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn, shared by the ones that he set free, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn, blown far away from rules and sin. Is truth the narrow-minded cannot see? Sing it. A master high without a chair, a seer without a call, the first to give a martyr's blood as dark returned to fall. The younger took his prize to shape, the elders' crops did ride, and paid the thief, split the land, torn up with his red sky. The here and now he taught to sight, Squire kept his word, and won the fight with rage aside, brought down with his green sword. He rides the winds of destiny, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn, dared by the ones that he set free, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn, blown far away from rules and sin. Is truth the narrow-minded cannot see, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn. His virgins waved the famine in the wake of its descent. Of you became a template, and they meet with what was meant. His novice heard the whispers of his ashes in the gale, and in the end a flash of jade placed one onto the scale. He rides the winds of destiny, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn, shared by the ones that he set free, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn, blown far away from rules and sin. His truth the narrow-minded cannot. Let me hear ya. The way of Qui-Gon Jinn. He rides the winds of destiny, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn, shared by the ones that he set free, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn, blown far away from rules and sin. His truth the narrow-minded cannot see, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn. Oh, 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 the way of Qui-Gon Jinn.
Right. High Adventure, the way of Qui-Gon Jinn.
Very nice.
Very, very cool. All right. Well, what do you... So, Jimmy Mack has been having a whirlwind of a month here with a lot of travel. Those of you who didn't know, Rebel Force Radio went on spring break. Jimmy Mack went to Galaxy's Edge in Orlando, and I stayed home. But it's great, because when Jimmy takes the time off, I get time off. So I like when Jimmy takes time off. But we've been to Galaxy's Edge together. It certainly wasn't your first time going there, but maybe there's some tales from Galaxy's Edge that you might like to tell us. This is like back in the old days when you would get back from a vacation. You'd have like the little carousel, you know, and they would show the family vacation photo.
That's right. You guys are going to have to sit through my family photo slideshow, whether you like it or not. So let's start off here.
Yes.
You got to take that shot in front of the Millennium Falcon there just to prove you were there. And as you can see, I was really thrilled. I think this picture was taken after the visit to the cantina, so I was really having a good time. Go to the next photo. My family really enjoyed the cantina. As you can see, that photo's a little bit blurry, as was my vision after having some of these drinks. But you can see the whole gang up there. My wife, Wendy Snyder, my sons, Michael and Dylan, and Wendy's sister, my sister-in-law, Betsy Snyder. And they're all hardcore Disney fans. Even Wendy, we broke her on this trip. She really got into it. And that picture not as blurry there, though. So I had to get everybody scrunched together. As you can see, the table is filled.
You know you can delete the blurry ones.
Yeah, but that was the best one I took.
Oh, okay, all right.
Whatever. Well, we tried the beverages. There you see Wendy holding court there in the cantina. She really was having a good old time.
She really looks like she belongs there.
Yeah.
I think.
Hitting on stormtroopers right in front of me.
Well, a man in uniform, you know what they say.
But we have some drink reviews of some of the drinks at Olga's Cantina at Galaxy's Edge. We tried the Fuzzy Tauntaun, which is Kettle One peach and orange vodka, peach schnapps, orange juice with tangerine, pure cane sugar, and Buzz Button tingling foam. But it was supposed to, that's what it felt like if you could hear it. That's what it felt like if you could hear it. It was supposed to like tickle and numb your mouth and tongue, but it kind of failed. As my son Dylan said, oh, by the way, recently turned 21 Dylan, unleash him at the Star Wars Cantina, and he's going to have a lot to say.
This is all legal.
His review was the Fuzzy Tauntaun, not so fuzzy. So, I think he wanted that. He read somewhere it was supposed to numb your mouth, but it didn't work. I had a Bad Motivator IPA, which is just your typical India Pale Ale with Galaxy and Comet hops. I think they made up that part there about the Galaxy, because it just tasted like beer to me. And I was really thankful for it in that Florida heat. The weather was beautiful, though. My son Michael, he doesn't really imbibe, so he enjoyed the Cliff Dweller non-alcoholic beverage, citrus juices, coconut, hibiscus, and grenadine, and Seagram's ginger ale. Michael says, pretty good, but more orange juicy than I thought it would be based on the description. So a little too orange juicy for his taste.
Not bad for a $35 drink.
Yeah, right. I said, kid, we're in Florida. Everything tastes like orange juice. We also enjoyed a Bespin Fizz.
Wait. Did you guys hear that?
I said bin.
No, you said Bespin.
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 No, I say it the way Billy D. Williams says it. Bespin. And the Bespin Fizz features Bacardi rum, yuzu puri, whatever that is, pomegranate juice, white cranberry juice, and a cloud swirl. Like a Mai Tai, but lacking the dry ice necessary for the cloud swirl. No dry ice at Galaxy's Edge.
Really?
Very disappointed. We do have a tip, though. There's a 2-drink maximum, so if you intend on having 2 drinks, order them at the same time, because it's a little difficult to flag down the server's attention, and you're on the clock when you go into this place. They want you out of there in 45 minutes, and they're running a clock on you, so you got to get those drinks in, folks. If not, though, they do offer spiked blue milk outside of the place. We had a couple of those, too.
Speaking of blue milk, real quick, has anybody got the blue milk that's made its way into stores? Y'all have found it? Is it any good?
Because people are liking it.
What does it taste like?
It's like vanilla,
It's vanilla flavored milk.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
On our next picture here, you see my wife Wendy and my sister-in-law Betsy with their picture in front of the Falcon. Look very nice, sisterly love. But right before that photo was taken, next photo, Wendy decided to tell Betsy about the time she visited Disney as a kid and barfed in her Mickey Mouse ears. So you see, next photo, you see she continues to tell the story. And then let's take a look at my sister-in-law's face on this next photo, as Wendy is going into great detail about, I think she's like miming the whole moment from when she was younger there, all in front of the Millennium Falcon. Betsy looks quite repulsed. Rise of the Resistance, what an amazing ride. Has anybody here had a chance to go on Rise of the Resistance? Holy smokes. I went on the ride. I had to go and watch YouTube videos afterwards to see what I saw. It was so intense. And
what you missed. You can't catch it all.
It's what an incredible ride. I would say this is when our entire week at Disney peaked. Was when we're all buzzing after the cantina and we go on Rise of the Resistance. Look out, folks. And there we are afterwards. I think Dylan got his eggs a little scrambled on the ride, but everyone appears to be having a good time. Here's my food review from Galaxy's Edge. We went to a place called Docking Bay 7 for a meal, and go ahead and play the video. We got a Ronto wrap, which is like the signature food of this place. Roasted pork, grilled pork.
Wait a minute, what part of the Ronto is that? I'm just asking.
Roasted pork, grilled pork sausage, peppercorn sauce, and tangy slaw wrapped in pita bread and served with a side of chips. The others got Batuan beef and crispy stir fry. And I think the stir fry was a superior item. Me and Dylan had to try the Ronto wrap just to see what the buzz was about. But Dylan's review: the sausage in the Ronto wrap is the same quality as the Jack Link's beef sausage you get at 7-Eleven.
Oh.
The kid tells it like it is, folks. The pita actually was superior, though, outstanding. So I just want you guys to know, this is, Consumer Reports for you Star Wars fans thinking about going to Disney. Next one, I found this pin for sale there at the park, and what's incredible about it is it's a rare appearance of Kitster.
We found him.
We found Kitster.
We found him.
There he is on a piece of Star Wars merchandise.
Is this the first piece of Kitster merchandise?
I don't think there are many others.
So if you're starting your Kitster collection, there you go.
It is so wizard. But there's another close-up of Kitster.
Oh.
But
it looks like he's got a microphone. Like he's, I don't know, like James Brown or
the
something.
Pod racer.
Yeah,
Can't you see
I see that, but I'm just saying.
It's part of his hero's journey. So. It was... I was tempted by many pieces of merchandise at the park, like the Kitster pin, like the Yoda cap. As you can see, I'm thrilled to be wearing it. I think it was my sister-in-law who jammed that on my head and then took my photo. But, a guy like me can really lose himself and his funds in a place like Disney where they sell all that merchandise. Ask me if I bought the Kitster pin.
Did you buy the Kitster pin?
I did not. $18 for the pin.
Totally worth it.
Almost 20 with tax.
This guy's been asking, where's Kitster for the last 25 years. He won't part with $18 to get the damn pin.
Where's Kitster? Where's Kitster? I've been looking for him. I finally found him, and I can't afford him. Jeez. But as you'll see on the next clip, even though being surrounded by all this merchandise, I was master of my domain. I did not open the wallet once, and I'm proud of myself because I got enough Star Wars junk to fill several houses. And the final photo, the great family photo in front of the Millennium Falcon. It was a great trip.
Very nice.
We all survived. There were no meltdowns, no threats of bodily harm to each other, and we had a great trip. So,
well, it's summertime, or it's almost summertime. Any tips for those that are venturing out to Galaxy's Edge, either on the West Coast or in the Southeast? Any lessons learned?
Like I said, order those drinks 2 at a time when you get in that cantina, because once you order one, they seem to forget about you. So you got to. Is Scott St. Louis in the house? RFR V.I.P. Scott St. Louis? Where is he? I just wanted to say hi to you, Scott. You don't have to run back up here because we're running a little short on time.
Oh, well, you have gifts.
Get over here. He brought us crap. Get your butt up on stage, son. You bring us crap, doors open. Look at him running with these Baby Yoda shopping bags. That's quite a look. Here he comes.
Wow.
Scott St. Louis, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Our VIP. Scott, grab a seat. Grab a seat.
Oh, thank you.
So, all right, you got to come up on stage if you buy us crap. But I just wanted to say you're one of the members of our Patreon community, our listening audience, who really is very fond of Galaxy's Edge. You were nice enough to send me a book about it and everything, and it came in very handy prior to the trip. We were actually able to sort out our game plan, and it was courtesy of you in that book. So thank you very much, sir.
So as one of the VIPs with Patreon, who is a resident of the New England area, I thought it would be appropriate to welcome you and Jason.
Wow.
By bringing New England specific merchandise.
You got the chowder?
It wouldn't fit in the bag.
Okay, all right.
I wanted to give you a dry bag, so.
All right, so, well, what'd you bring us? We got stuff, Swank.
All right.
We got stuff here from...
Is this one mine?
Oh, this one says Swank on it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, this one's a lot lighter than Max, but it's all right.
But these are...
Yeah, when you're a VIP.
New England items. You got the Cape Cod chips, which I'm a big fan of. Ooh. We got some Ocean Spray cran grape, okay?
Cranberry.
Swank requires a juice box, okay? I told you. Oh, Necco wafers for the toll booth. Necco wafers.
Necco
Did I remember
wafers.
throwing these into the toll booth? We got fluff.
Marshmallow
fluff associated with...
From Boston, Massachusetts.
It's from Boston, Mass. More Ocean Spray, milk chocolate, and dipped cranberry bites. Oh, my goodness gracious. Look at all this junk you got us. What's in here? Furlong's candies. Any fans of Furlong's?
Maple sugar candy.
Maple sugar candies. What is this?
And then this
You didn't
is
have to do
Jimmy
it.
Mac specific.
Wow. It's a Mandalorian bobblehead that they gave away at Star Wars night at Fenway Park.
Oh, look at that.
So now that's New England. That's really nice. See that? See
So-
that? I got a Mandalorian bobblehead, Glenn.
Hit it.
Hit it.
So, Jason, there's a specific gift for you as well. Yes.
All right, that's
All right. Let's see what I got a lot of the same, but there's something special for me. Let's see what.
I know you are not so much of a sports fan.
Not so much. Oh, but I am a fan of wet stuff that goes in here. Look at this. Return of the Jedi Scotch glass.
Wow.
I will definitely use this. Yes. Thank you very much. Love it. Classic Return of the Jedi logo on there. And it is my all-time favorite Star Wars movie. That's really kind of you. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the gift, Scott. You didn't have to do that. Your mere presence here is a gift to me and Swank. But I'll take the bobblehead with me.
So thank you and welcome to New England. Great to have
Thank you, man. That's really
Thanks
kind.
for all your support. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott St. Louis.
All right. We got one last guest here that we got to bring her up here because she's responsible for this whole thing. From Bristol City Arts and Cultural Supervisor, we've got Arianna, ladies and gentlemen. Arianna.
Arianna. We don't want to butcher your last name.
I very skillfully skipped the last name because I don't know how it's pronounced. How do you pronounce it?
Theirrault. Arianna Theirrault. Yes. All right. I think the band is playing two different songs at the same time. So,
Arianna,
you know,
thank
we
you
owe
so
it
much.
this whole day to Arianna. She's the one who arranged everything. She's the one that got RFR to Bristol, and we just wanted to thank her for the great opportunity. How did this all come about? What inspired you to celebrate May the 4th here in Bristol this way?
Well, thank you guys for pulling me up here, and thank you for being here, and everybody who came out. We really appreciate this. It's a wonderful day. I worked at ESPN for a bajillion years before I took this job, and May the 4th was always a huge day there, and we had stormtroopers always come in. So I took this job, and in September was our first show in this theater, and we've been trying to get different shows going on in here. So concerts, comedians, and then, you know, podcasts. And I figured, why not try to reach out to you guys and see what we can do. So it's been really fun, and May the 4th is a cool day, just in general. So
It's a great day.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, we want to thank you so much for making it all happen.
Yeah.
And thank the Force for bringing us together. And tell us what else is going on this summer in Bristol. You guys going to have more concerts, more comedians?
Yeah, so we've got Ada Twist, Scientist and Friends. It's a kid show coming up in June, so that's really exciting for the parents here. It's STEM-fueled musical style with Theater Works kind of up here with a bunch of different props and whatnot. In August, we have a musician who is also a magic artist or magician. That's the word.
Musician, and, he does music and magic?
Yeah, his name is Chris Funk. He's been on America's Got Talent and a bunch of other shows, Penn and Teller, I think. So that's going to be really great. And then we've got a Jimmy Buffett show in September, obviously without Jimmy, but a cover band. And I think we're going to have a contest for who can dress up the closest to Jimmy. So that'll be really fun. And then we've got the Daily Show comedy tour coming in November. So we're really excited about that. So, and lots of free summer concert series at the park down the way. Lots of just really great events that are community-based. So if you guys don't already follow Downtown Live, however you found this show, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, Downtown Live, Bristol Arts and Culture.
Well, thank you so much. What a great day. May the 4th here in Bristol, CT, baby.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Hey, we encourage you guys to go outside after this if you're not meeting with Jimmy and Jason to eat some really good food from the food trucks. It's really, really good. Please go spend your money and with the vendors. Thank you so much.
I'm hungry.
Well, that's going to wrap things up for us here for now in Bristol CT. Thank you so much. Rebel Force Radio, what a thrill. Thank you all so much for coming out here. It's one thing when you are tuning into the podcast every week. It's another thing when you take time away from your families and spend money and come to a destination like this. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you all so very much. Thank you to Glenn Nelson and High Adventure. How about that? Great stuff. As Glenn said, you can find them online. There's all the information there. And they've got like 5 albums out, and it's just fantastic. So big thanks to Glenn and the boys. Also, our VIPs, Eric from Phoenix, Joe Dallas, Scott St. Louis, Matt Rashid. Thank you all very, very much. Huge thanks to the bearded one, Tyler Page, back there.
Also, thank you, Robert Lopez. Robert Lopez for joining
Well,
us.
I had him, you know, he's a bigger deal than Joe Dallas, so I had him further down than Robert Lopez.
All right, forget I said that, Bobby. I take it back.
Thanks, Baby Belushi, Chris Sorrentino, for being here and that low-energy performance. And, of course, Robert Lopez. How about that? Thanks to the crew here at the Rockwell Theater. Beautiful venue, awesome. And thank you to our entire audience, our loyal RFR listeners that have been with us for 17 years now. We've been doing Star Wars podcasts, so thank you all so much. So many of you have been with us since those very early days, so we really appreciate it. You're the best Star Wars fans in the entire galaxy. We love you all very, very much. So looking forward to a lot more Star Wars ahead with The Acolyte coming up this summer, and we're going to have an after show about that Tales of the Empire, those mini episodes. So look for that next week, live after shows. So make sure you're subscribed to Rebel Force Radio on YouTube and follow us on all the socials and all that good stuff. So that's going to do it for us. We will see you next time. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
And I'm Jimmy Mack.
And remember,
The Force will be with you, always.
Thank you, Bristol.